Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more oxygen not included in the Dupe Troupe. We have unfortunately reached that stage of the game where it is taking forever to do pretty much anything ever at all. I want to dig out this tank and finish up the wolframite, but in order to do that we need to mine more wolframite, which means we need to get some of these ladders going, which means that people are going to get cold and run out of oxygen and go and do something different. It's one of the reasons I placed down these algae terrariums, so hopefully they'll be able to breathe a little bit closer over here, instead of having to run all the way back this direction. But yeah, there's a lot to do. We're going to need a lot of materials. We're going to spend a lot of time building. I'm not really sure what to do next. Hey, look, a natural gas geyser. Ooh, that could be useful. I'm not really sure what to do next. I mean, yes, we could create a fully functional natural gas power plant. That would be an option. Yes, we could start working our way to the edge of the asteroid. It'll take a while, but we could just do that. We could, I don't know, we could try to get a metal refinery going. We could try to experiment with some shipping tubes and stuff. Get people flying all over the darn place. With the transit tubes, which I did research. What does that require anyway? Transit tubes? Auto sweeper, automation. I actually have no idea where that is. Is that a ventilation thing? No. Base? There it is. Transit tubes. Requires plastic. That's a thing we can do. Start learning how to make plastic. There's a lot of stuff that's available to us right now. All of which are going to be phenomenally time-consuming, which is very sad. I'm taking a little bit of time to turn all of these farms into hydroponic farms. Mainly because what I think we're going to end up having to do is we're going to have to disinfect this water down here one way or another. And it looks like I may have been wrong about the disappearance of germs down here. It's very inconsistent, if at all. But this water source is so polluted and I'm running low on food, I can't even use it. It's just completely worthless to me at this point. So what I think I want to do is try to get all of this set up to hydroponics so I don't even have to use any water. And what we'll do is we'll rely on the steam geysers to give me the fresh source of water. This should be purified and clean. Down over in the main base, what I could do is try to heat up the water to, like, what, 50 degrees Celsius to kill the food poisoning, but by then it's so warm, what can I use it in that's not going to cause problems, right? So I think we're just going to have to kind of condemn this water source. That's one of the reasons I want to not rely on this pitcher pump and instead have hydroponic farms that are already sourced with some polluted water. That way I don't have to worry about it. That's the idea. Unfortunately, it's rather slow going because, well, that's a lot of tiles you have to replace, and because this game for some reason has decided that hydroponic farms do not count as floors and do not wall off a room, we're kind of stuck with this. Except, I just realized a really big problem. Oh, this is a problem, actually. Uh-oh. Bristle blossoms cannot use polluted water. I thought that maybe it didn't matter, but it does. They have to have clean water. The pinch of pepper plants can use polluted water. They have to. Oh, yes, this does pose a small problem. So I've got tubes here, or pipes, that are full of water that I can't use. Uh-oh. So this is something interesting I didn't really expect. I was having some problems with food, and I'm like, why would I be having problems with food? I have a load of raw eggs. I should be making plenty of food, right? Just because I set up several different things in the queue does not mean that he's actually going to keep cooking omelets, it turns out. He does this one, and then he just stops. It doesn't matter if he runs out of ingredients. He doesn't move on to the next one. He just stops there. So because I had the stuffed berry as my first one, we weren't making any omelets or pepper bread or frost buns or anything. I don't think I understand why. That seems kind of dumb. Once you run out of ingredients for one, you should move on to the next one. That just makes sense to me. It's called a queue for a reason. But as soon as I change that, now he's making like 50 freaking omelets and I have plenty of food. So I don't know what changed. We're going to go ahead and add somebody new into the group. This guy is squeamish, so he can't do care, but he does have an iron gut and he's germ resistant, both of which are actually pretty good. And nice construction skilled with some build, and I could really use more builders. So let's go ahead and name this guy Heresy, which I just think is funny, and let's print you off. Welcome to the team. So I'm going to be honest, it has been about an hour and 40 minutes that I've been recording this episode, and we're only just now finally able to get the water flowing into the little reservoir that's going to be down here. Hopefully the water will cool down very rapidly in the ice biome. I'm not sure if it will or will not. Can we please prioritize this stuff? So what I'm going to do is have a Thermo Sensor here. And this Thermo Sensor is going to be what detects whether or not the water is cool enough to justify pumping into the base in some way. I wish I could get rid of this vending machine because I hate that it's just sitting here because it looks so stupid. But what are you going to do? So, let's see. When the water enters, it's about 60 degrees Celsius. By the time it gets to the end, it's 33. Well, no, it's heating up a fair bit. Okay, so it's not quite as cold as I would have liked it to be. I think it's just because the pipes were so cold already by default. Still, we should be getting rid of a fair bit of heat out here. And in the meantime, the water will continue to cool down as we sit here in the ice biome. So when it gets to a temperature of, let's say, below, I don't know, 30 degrees Celsius, that's when we would want to turn on the liquid pump and start sending something back out to the base. Ooh, guys, a glossy Drecklet egg. That's something we wanted to see. All right, so that's currently incubating. It's going to be a while, but if this thing can be, bred to produce more plastic for me so I don't even have to bother with refining, that would be amazing. Wait, turn it all off. We've already screwed something up. Why is there polluted water getting into the base? Oh, I know. It's because polluted ice is going to start melting because it's so darn hot over here. We've already ruined our water supply. Okay, that's good. Sure. Is there a way to just go ahead and clean that out from here? Hang on. Liquid filter. Well, yeah, we can filter out a particular type of water. That would be an option for us. Who's idle? Gosh dang it. Roman, why would you get stuck up there? Why would you do that? Mine your way out. No. Free yourself. Get out. Oh my god. Get out. Get out. You dummy. Move. Move! Jeez. Oh, great. There's a whole load of snow in the way. That's my problem. Run, Roman, run! Ugh. Heresy, congratulations. You get to move on to be a proper builder. No, you don't. Your morale's low. Why is your morale low, exactly? I don't see any good reason for that to be the case. Come on, Heresy. Why do you have to be the problem child? Let's see. Plumbed bathroom, comfortable barracks, mediocre decor. Seems to me you ought to be fine. Are you eating things you're not supposed to be? Possibly. No, it doesn't look like it. Huh. I'm not sure why you're so sad. Everyone else is looking pretty solid. Great Hall. You don't get the Great Hall bonus? This is your seat, and you're in the Great Hall, are you not? So, what exactly is the problem? Wow, this ice biome over here actually goes a lot higher up than I thought. I thought this is all it was. Nope. Keeps on going. Way up and up and up and up and up and up and up. More Wheezewort for me, though. What's inside these lockers? We should tell people to rummage through them. Roman, why would you pee white over the water source? No, why? Why did you do that? Oh my god, you've infected it with germs. Oh my god. And now Nightman's peeing too. Why? No, for real. What's the problem here? Are you unable to use the bathrooms? They should have plenty of water inside. Oh, wait. I figured out the problem. Our polluted water tank is so full that we can't actually flush the toilet. It's completely backed up. Oh, gosh! The little things you forget about in this game are the ones that are gonna screw you so bad. So the lockers had even more clothes. Warm sweaters, cool vests. I mean, that's all helpful and all. It just kind of means I never have to build my own textile industry. You know something I just realized? If our germs are now growing once again in the water tank, and they are, it's because I just turned on the water sieve. Because they don't seem to filter out germs. What I could do, actually, is raise the temperature of the polluted water so much that it starts killing the germs. That actually would work, because it doesn't matter how hot the polluted water is, once it goes through the water sieve, it's going to come out as 40 degrees Celsius, guaranteed. That is something I can do. Don't know why I didn't think of that before. Seems kind of obvious now that I think about it. Let me find the right tool, but somewhere in here is what I'm looking for. There it is. The water tepidizer. Whoa, it's pretty big. Huh. So if I were to place this sucker inside of here and power it, and it's going to eat a lot of power, that's my main problem, but if I did do that, then in theory, we actually could heat this up enough that it starts killing the germs rather than give them a place to grow. And eventually, since they are dying in this clean liquid, eventually the food poisoning would go away. I think that's actually a really good idea. We should try it. Looks like we found another geyser right here. way up at the top. I'm trying to work my way toward the outer edge of the asteroid, but there is another geyser, which is probably not something we want to expose right now. Somehow I feel like that probably would not be a good situation for me. So we're going to ignore it for now, and just kind of keep working our way up. Well, it does seem to be working. The Tepid Iser is raising the temperature, and the higher it gets, the more they're going to die per cycle. So even though it is polluted water, and they're growing at 4%, we should be killing them off at 31% per cycle. So the numbers should be dropping rather rapidly. The only downside of this darn thing is it's so power hungry. It's eating up all the stuff. Granted, I still haven't hooked up the coal generators, you know, all the way up here because I've been kind of lazy, but even so, you get the point. Wow, it absorbs a lot. But if it works, it works. Temperature of the water is now going up to about 43.8 or so degrees. And yeah, 32% dead per cycle. Number of germs is gradually decreasing. This actually could work. Oh, check it out. I found another one of those neural vacillator things. Tell you what, LP Danilo, you get to go over here and use this thing. This should be fun for you, yeah? You'll get an awesome new trait. I mean, I hear it's a bit of a shocking experience. You know, a little painful. Don't worry too much about that. Let's complete the neural process. What do you get? Regenerative. That's 2 people we've gotten regenerative on now. Doesn't seem all that good, but oh well. Hey, look, free clothes. Alright, so I have been recording this for about 2.5 hours now, and I have no idea how much content I've got. I'm pretty confident it's going to be a short video, because I just don't feel like I've had a lot to say. Most of this video has been just sitting around waiting for things to happen. I've been building up some ladders over here in the ice biome trying to go up, finding it's just going higher and higher than I could have thought. I mean, that's good, but even so, also trying to build a way up over this direction, working into another ice biome with plenty more Wheezewort to go around. But we did stabilize quite a bit in this video. Our food situation has been more or less solved. We do have hydroponic farms now, which means we're not having to spend nearly as much time gathering water, which is good. The water tepidizer seems to be doing its job to reduce the number of germs in the polluted water. I am hoping that pretty soon this is going to get cleansed. And then I don't think I want to raise the temperature of this water, because we do still use this for a few things. Although maybe it doesn't matter, actually. I mean, the only downside is that the water here is warm enough that when it gets pumped into hydroponic farms, it might have problems for my bristle blossoms. Maybe, maybe not. But even so, we're growing plenty of this. My food situation is looking pretty good right now. And we actually could just start making a whole bunch more stuffed berries and omelets, and that would be fine. Pinch pepper plants down here are doing A-OK. My primary concern is making sure that we are able to get the air pressure high enough down here. Apparently, we did just run out of polluted water down this away, though. So we are going to need to replumb that. But that won't be too hard, I don't think. Should be relatively easy. So I'll worry about that in between videos. Over here, the water's looking pretty good. We're going to have some way of separating the polluted water, but otherwise, not too bad. The polluted ice is getting a little annoying up here. And yeah, we're just going to keep digging up into the heavens until we can get to the outside of the asteroid and see what is going on there. In the meantime, research is more or less done, at least for everything I would care about. Maybe some glass would be good to do at some point soon. We did finish solid transport, even though I've never used that kind of automation before. A few other things we could work on. I think next video, the big trick is going to be making plastic. I think that is what we need to start moving into, and that means we're going to have to start refining this crude oil into plastics that we can use. And part of my thought there is I'm really, really freaking tired of having to wait for these guys to run everywhere. I'd rather just have so much plastic I can make a ton of transport tubes and just let people go zooming across the base. Why run all the way over here, you know? That's the idea. So I'm going to get the plastic. We do have a second glossy directlet egg laid, which is pretty lucky. So I'm hoping between the two of those that will help. But yes, oil refinery is going to be important. I don't know where to place it yet because I don't want to heat up the base. Maybe in one of the ice biomes, just to keep everything nice and cold. We'll kind of see how that feels later. But yeah, that's the goal for next video. Maybe also a natural gas power plant, since the coal seems to be having some trouble keeping up nowadays. And then after that, I think we just have to get ourselves out of the asteroid, try out the exosuits, and have a bit of fun there. And that will be a good place to end this series, at least until the next upgrade comes out, and we'll see if I follow up on that or not. On second thought, scratch that. 15 minutes is still too short for me. So, we've jumped forward about 30 cycles. Let me show you some of the things that I have done. First off, we do have some glossy Drecos now. 3 of them, with another one well on the way. Which means we are actually getting a good, what is it, 50? No, yeah, I think it's 50 kilograms of plastic each, or maybe it's more than that, I'm not sure. Either way, we actually do have some plastic to work now, so that's great. We're still going to want to do some refined metal, refined crude oil. There we go, refined crude oil. Turn that into petroleum and then turn that into plastic, so I'll be able to use it a lot more frequently, but at least it's something to work with, and it lets me kind of see what my options are. We can build our plastic ladders, plastic tiles. I don't know why you would want either of these. I mean, I guess they're apparently faster than a regular ladder, which can be nice, but how much faster exactly? Is it really worth that much plastic? Maybe, if you have enough oil. I'm not sure. Anyway. The transit tubes are what I'm the most excited about. There will be a transit tube crossing here to run through wall, floor, and tiles. I don't know, actually, if this stuff counts as, like, background stuff and people can run past it. I have to experiment with that. We will have a transit tube access, but in order to use these, we need a lot more refined metal, and that's kind of something I want to work on next. Is work on a basic metal refinery, because we've just been using this whole rock granulator in the past, which is just not efficient. But it's worked for a little while in the short term. So let's see. If we wanted to do a metal refinery, we can do that. Produce refined metals from raw metal. Output significantly heated liquid. So this is where before I had thought about using this polluted water pretty effectively, right? And if we warmed it up just to send it off into the water sieve, no big deal. And I still sort of stand by that. Dreco, how did you get in here? He's happy in there, so alright, I guess you can stay. So the question then becomes, do I want to have a separate pool of water that I just let that thing heat up? Do I build this in, let's say, an ice biome so it stays nice and cold, which, by the way, you can see has been melting horribly and there's polluted water everywhere now? Or do I instead just go ahead and hook it up to the polluted water, let it heat up, and then the water tepidizer is not really needed anymore? Maybe. So the tepidizer, what I did is I hooked it up to a thermo sensor so that it only is going to turn on whenever the temperature goes below 70 degrees Celsius. That way we're not wasting a whole lot of power. This thing may never really turn on if we are using a metal refinery a lot, which is not necessarily a terrible idea. I guess I actually could repurpose this area. I hadn't really planned on it. I was actually planning on building it down here, but maybe we can put our oil refinery down here. This might be okay. Yeah, I actually kind of like the idea. All right, so this is where we're placing the metal refinery. Let's gradually get some of this stuff out of the way. We'll insulate it a little bit better so we aren't heating up the base. But yeah, we'll use this. We'll hook it up to the polluted water, and we'll get that going. Down over here, you can see that the germs are basically gone from the polluted water. And gradually they are disappearing off of our main water source as well. Slowly but surely. It's just taking its sweet time. The tepidizer has done quite well in this regard. What I've done, though, is I've spent a couple of cycles observing the cycles of my dupes and how often they're using the restroom, like what hours of the day they're using it. Because that's where the food poisoning is coming from. Every time they're using the bathroom, that's when the germs are now coming into the pool. What's weird is I don't remember this happening in the early days, but it makes total sense that it's a problem now. But either way, so I've watched that, and what's going to happen is I'm going to allow a few hours for the tepid water, or the water tepidizer, to get rid of the germs, and then once the germs are basically gone, I have a clock sensor set up on my water sieve, and that's when I start pulling out some water that should be germ-free and start dumping it into my water pool. So I've just timed it down to so many hours of actual germ-free time, and that's when I start cleaning it up, which I think works pretty well. I did also try using a thermal aqua tuner to cool down the water here. Did not work well at all. Hooked this thing up, turned it on, this thing almost instantly heated up to about 400 degrees Celsius, like in a matter of seconds. Granted, it did cool the water down by like 15 to 20 degrees, but holy crap, you can't handle a 400 degree item sitting right here. So what I think you have to do with the thermal aqua tuner is set it in a different pool of water, you know, something that submerge it, something that's going to be a little bit more thermally conductive than just a gas, because gases are not very good at conducting thermal energy. So that's probably what you have to do, and I did think about putting that in the polluted water instead, but nah, I don't know if we're going to worry about that. Either way, we'll see. What I'm probably going to end up doing is eventually start dumping some of the clean, cool water here, which right now is still a little on the hot side. Oh, that's interesting. We'll probably start dumping some cooler water down over here and hope that kind of evens things out, because right now it is warm enough that it is turning off my hydroponic farms no matter how much I'm trying to soak out the heat in this area. It's just not enough. The only way that it's going to work is if we start using cooler water. And if I can't find a better way to cool it off, well, that's going to be a problem, ain't it? Alright, so the metal refinery is built. It's just waiting for more coolant, but we do have some polluted water on its way. What I've done is I have branched off of my primary, like, bathroom's polluted water, heading into the metal refinery before it gets to the vent, so it should prioritize this if there is any room available, which it looks like it is doing, though it's a little confused. But yeah, so I think we just have to wait for this thing to kind of fill up its reservoir. That's bound to be what this little guy's for. So we're not going to run this thing very often unless I hook it up to, like, an actual, you know, consistent pump. But for the short term, in little spurts, when I need some refined metal, this might be a way to work. It looks like we actually can use it now. So if I wanted to turn, let's say some gold amalgam into gold, let's just try doing that once. I imagine one of our engineers would have to come and do this for us. I'm kind of curious what they mean by significantly heating the liquid. I want to know how much. So he's going to deliver some gold amalgam. Come on. You gonna do the thing? There we go. He's going to operate it. Okay. So the liquid probably came in at... what would we guess? 40 degrees, roughly? Oh, you're running out of oxygen, eh? You don't want to keep operating because you're out of oxygen? Okay. Well, that's one of the reasons we have this deodorizer. As this thing continues to put out polluted oxygen, we'll start turning it into something more breathable. But that's obviously going to be a problem. All right, thank you, Cybermaster. Finish the job. What do we got? So the liquid's coming out at 40 degrees Celsius? That's not so bad. Oh, that's not so bad at all. That's about where I expected it to be before. So it must be coming in a bit cooler than that. I guess we can wait until the end of the cycle and people start using the restroom to do a comparison and see just how much. Wait, there we go. 40.8. It's not really heating up at all, honestly. Yeah, it's really not heating up, like, at all. I don't know what the fuss is about. This seems completely fine. Alrighty, then. That's great. I'm not quite willing to give up, by the way, on using a proper radiator to cool the liquid here. What I'm thinking I might do is create another little insulated chamber just with Wheezewort and radiated tubes. Because here's the problem, right? It's not cooling down pretty much at all, mainly because the water sieve gets so darn hot that the gases heat up so much that these 3 Wheezewort are not enough to actually cool down the air below 40 degrees Celsius. It's just not working that way. So, if we move this to a totally separate chamber where no heat is coming in from the water sieve, it's just a cold environment from the Wheezewort, we might still be able to cool this down. I'm not quite willing to give up on it, especially since it's going to take such a long time to actually get this stuff all the way where I need it to. Also, I'm shocked that it's taking this long to cool down. You're in the ice biome. You're supposed to get nice and cold, but it's not doing it. Maybe if I had built this tank out of metal, something more thermally conductive, that might have been better. I'm kind of surprised. The problem is we also have so much water that it's a huge volume to cool down, which makes things a lot harder. On the plus side, it looks like this thing did refine 100 kilograms of gold instead of only 50, which is what the rock granulator was able to do, so I guess it's a little bit more efficient. It wastes less material. We get, 100 grams turned directly into 100 grams, so we're not wasting metals. All it's doing is just making us use up some water and technically heat it up, but not by much. And we want hot water here anyway, so that's fine. I did change up the jobs. We now have enough morale that pretty much everybody can actually become a higher level of an engineer, except for Carl. Carl, I might make him into a mechatronics engineer, but you can't move from electrical to mechatronics. So if I did this, I wouldn't have anyone able to do an electrical engineering job, which means we actually do need to find another tinkerer and add him into the roster at some point. But everyone else is looking pretty good. Seasoned miners, senior architects, exosuits, engineers, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, everyone's looking pretty happy, and that's because the morale is so darn high now that we are giving everyone great or superb meals with every cycle. So everyone's real freaking happy, which means we can do some pretty cool jobs. I also was able to dig all the way out to the edge of the asteroid, and we're going to have to figure out what to do with this. Hey, look, refined iron. Huh. Regolith. That's a new material. Mafic rocks. I don't know what any of that is. And apparently, a whole load of stuff is piling up in what looks like an old space base. The drywall is being entombed. 35. It was a lot less, so something keeps building up here. Something keeps entombing this. Which tells me that there are probably asteroids or meteors or something that are hitting the side of the asteroid here and leaving behind little bits of debris and gradually entombing the drywall even further. There's the planet going by the way. Yeah. This kind of lends credibility to my theory that the planet broke and we're not actually an asteroid, we're just a piece of the broken planet. But, I mean, really, who knows for sure. So we're going to have to figure out how to get to the outside of this. I'm not even sure there's much of a point in getting to the outside of the asteroid. It seems kind of hazardous, but it is something you can do now. Whoa. Meteor damage. Yep. Whoa. Yep, more meteor damage. Okay, so yeah, meteors are definitely flying around and hitting the outside. This seems hazardous. Why would I want to come here? You know something I haven't thought of before? What if we just place a bunch of ice blocks in the water? Submerge it. Would that even work? I wonder, actually. Maybe it would. It's just like putting giant ice cubes inside of a glass of water, right? So, I mean, maybe? We're going to have to come back to all of that a little bit later, though. I am having some irrigation problems with my pinch and pepper plants because, once again, we are completely out of polluted water, which means I need to find some new sources, and there's a whole bunch over here, which seems pretty promising, so maybe we'll use this. But I'm going to start running out of food if we can't grow more of those, because that's kind of my primary food source right now, on top of these bristleberries, and with these guys not working because it's too hot, well, that poses a bit of a problem now, doesn't it? But oh well, I'm looking forward to seeing if this thing works. We're building some temp shift plates in the background, which should help to disperse the heat in the room a bit more evenly, so we'll see if that actually does anything or not. But it's going to get real dang cold in here if I have anything to say about it. Maybe it'll be enough to help. Maybe the ice will help. Whatever. We got to keep growing more food. We got to get our irrigation stuff. And next video, I think we also figure out is a natural gas power plant and an oil refinery if possible. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If so, then be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. The ice immediately melts. That's fascinating. And I will see you guys next time.